Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I urge you to do so at Prime Real Estate Rick. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, please visit our website at brooksanddavis.com. As always, my co-host here for episode 124.
That's right. They rolling in.
Oh, my goodness gracious, brother.
Yep. 124, man.
Where do you find time to get all this stuff in? Because it's hard being a Texas real estate broker, multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, and the sole proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand.
Yeah.
Hey, how does it feel on this Thursday to be the Texas real estate king, Mr. Larry W. Brooks? What's up with it, bro?
Hey, man, with an introduction like that, man, it feels wonderful, right? It's crazy because I had a great time this morning. I ended up being up super early because I had to go over to Champion School of Real Estate, the West Side, and speak to the students about, like being licensees and moving forward with that one day being able to practice real estate. So it was amazing just to get in front of them and share, my journey with them. So it was good.
Man, every week we start the show, always ask you what you've been up to, what's going on in the life of the Texas real estate king, man. But I had a chance this week to visit one of our old stomping grounds, a place that we like to visit a lot out in Louisiana in Lake Charles. Yeah. And I don't know when was the last time you had a chance to visit, man, but it was heartbreaking for me because I had no idea how much rebuilding still needed to go on out in Lake Charles after they had all of the storms, the hurricanes in the past year to 18 months, man. And I just know how much time you like to spend in Lake Charles, brother. So how did that affect you to watch them go through so much damage?
Yeah, man, it was challenging because, I go down there quite often. And when I went through just to see all of the buildings that had been displaced as well, not only you had your homeowners that were displaced, but literally I would look for Chase Banks. And there was one that was like a block away, and both of them were gone. They were just dissipated by the way that the storm landed. Literally seen a gas station where the roof of the gas station had been placed on another lot. So this was a couple of weeks ago, man. So it's still tough.
I mean, and I just want to make sure everyone out there in that area of Louisiana, especially in Lake Charles, know that our hearts and prayers are with them.
Yes, indeed.
And I urge everyone in our audience, if you've ever had the opportunity to visit Lake Charles, man, our brothers and sisters out there need all of our help. So volunteer, donate, get involved any way you can because they've served the residents of the state of Texas for so many years out there in Lake Charles, man. So I want to make sure we show some love back if we can, no doubt.
Yes, indeed, man.
Hey,
no
man.
doubt about it.
But we got a really exciting show lined up this week, Larry.
Oh, yeah. Come on, man. I've been looking forward to it.
I'm going to give you a chance to toot your own horn. Can you tell our audience about how deep in your Black Book of Connects you had to dig into to get this week's guest to sit in with us, man?
Well, man, it's always hard when you're when you're looking for them celebrity types. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, come on, man. Look.
So our guest today, I almost said her name too quickly.
Right,
I'll allow for you to do it. Right. But, it's always deep when you go digging in your Black Book for those type that don't really come out. It's a rarity. No one can say like, I just seen her the other day now. Like it's that kind of movement. So
I know. And without any further ado, I want to introduce to our audience. Not only is she one of the most successful businesswomen here in the greater city of Houston, she is a licensed loan officer. She is also the founder, CEO of Beyond the Close, and someone who is very and especially busy on Thursdays, but carved some time out of her schedule to sit in with us. I want to thank her publicly, Miss Brandy Sams. How you doing?
B. Sam in the building.
Getting it going.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
We're doing amazing.
How's everyone doing today? I am excited to be here. Like Larry said, with a introduction like that. Like, what else do you say?
Right. Okay, but I'm gonna help you out because I want to make sure I throw you a softball. Could you share with our audience how far back you and your business relationship with Mr. Larry Brooks goes?
Larry Brooks was someone that I met when I first moved to Houston, and that was 8 years ago. Wow. So I was working with a company, and he was working with us on a regular basis, and he was one of the first introductions that I had with Houston because I'm from Oakland, California originally. Right. So I'm not a natural Houstonian, although I do have family that's from here. We all have roots in Louisiana and Texas. So he was one of the first people that made me really feel at home here. Yeah. So we go way back.
Way back. Listen, you come through the city of Houston, you have to come through Larry Brooks some type of way. I need to know you. I need to make sure you belong here.
Especially if you're talented and a grinder like Miss Sam's. I
Yes,
want to give you an opportunity to speak to our audience about your organization, your company, and what it is that you guys provide as far as services to the community. Not just as a loan officer, but people who visit your website, follow you on Instagram, can see that there are a myriad of services that you provide. Could you speak to our audience a little bit about what it is that you do?
Sure. I would definitely love the pleasure of doing that. Well, let me go ahead and just for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brandy Sams. I'm a licensed loan officer, but I am a nationwide lender. We provide services for residential lending, multifamily, and light commercial. I also have a business consulting firm, and we provide services for business owners who are looking to learn how to navigate bank financing in order to invest in real estate as well as grow and scale your businesses. For me, the foundation of any wealth generation plan has to be finances. Mm-hmm. You really need to understand the game that you're playing. Yep. You ought to know the rules. That way you have no excuse whatsoever not to own it successfully, but in a way that you can do it efficiently, effectively, and then be able to leave a legacy for your family.
Yes, indeed. And, I totally agree with that. And I think that a lot of times we miss out on that because the foundation is sometimes people just throwing it together versus taking the time to plan it out the way that you just said. So, yeah.
And it makes a difference. And when you look at other communities and when you look at other cultures, they plan like 10 generations deep.
They do.
Right. Sometimes we plan 2 seconds deep.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we miss out on the opportunity given the fact that we have so much buying power. We really do affect this country.
Yep.
Tremendously. We have no idea how much power we have. And for me, like my grandmother, my great-grandparents, they laid a really solid foundation. I'm a 6th generation landowner, and I'm proud of that. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it, yeah.
And my siblings and I, my parents, my cousins, we're all trying to set a foundation for our children and for their children to have the ability to do a lot more. And land ownership is a start. Yeah. But it's not just about having land. It's about having a strategy and understanding what that strategy would be and being able to deploy it properly.
I agree.
So
one of the true values that Larry and I have is being able to talk to you today is to pick your brain about some of the services you provide for entrepreneurs and business owners.
Okay.
As I did my due diligence cyber stalking your brand and your company this week, I had an opportunity to notice that you provide consultation services for business owners as far as those 3 letters, SBA, PPP, and in a city the size of the Houston with as many entrepreneurs and business owners as there are. What type of services are you providing for those business owners and entrepreneurs in and around the city right now from that standpoint?
Well, so here's the thing. There are a lot of people out here who like to be sold and not a lot of people who like to be educated.
Wow.
And
that's
so
don't be so deep right now.
Come
on.
Hey, just the way she handled that wording is perfect.
We apologize, ma'am. Yeah. Continue.
No doubt about it. These people, they're going to know better today.
Absolutely, they're going to know better today.
So the services that we really provide are the starting services. There are a lot of people out there who are charging you to handle these services when there are things that you can do for yourself. Now, are there opportunities for you to work with a company that's helping you, and do they get paid for those services through the SBA or through the companies that are offering that? Yes, we do. We need to be paid for our services. Right. However, you're the person who's signing on the dotted line. Yeah. And so you're the person who needs to know what you want the money for.
I agree.
Not just because it's available, but what are you going to do with it? It makes no sense to borrow money to go into debt if you don't have a plan or a strategy to replace it and then grow from it. Yeah. So part of the thing that we do with some of the entrepreneurs is figure out, what do you want? Like, why do you want it? What are you going to do with the money? Yeah. How is it going to add to your business plan? Do you even have a business plan?
Come on.
Now, that's a heavy way to evaluate it, because I can only imagine these people taking all of these loans because they're being offered without the strict guidelines. I remember back when I first got into business 20 years ago, if you tried to get a loan, the amount of money that they would give you would be only the match that you had in your savings, like a percentage of that.
Right.
But now they ain't even asking you what you got in your savings. They just like, okay, if you can structurally show that you got a business, they giving you a loan. But imagine these people are not going to be, if you're not educating them, they're not going to be responsible for that.
If you don't know how to put a P&L together, and you don't know what a balance sheet is, You have no idea whether or not you're a Schedule C earner. You don't know if you have a 1065 or 1120. If you have no idea what any of those things mean, please don't go out and get money that you don't know how to write off on your taxes properly. You don't have an actual tax accountant or a strategist or any of those things, because you put yourself in a much different position. What a lot of people last year didn't recognize, even on the finance side from the mortgage side, there are a lot of people who thought, oh, well, it's not going to report on my personal credit, so it's not going to matter. Yeah. Then you try and get a loan, and you're wondering how we know what we know the way we know it.
How did you leave this off? Yeah,
right. How did you selectively forget to put it on that application? Exactly, right? And so then it can impact you in other situations, right? And I understand, though. I really, really do. It is hard to be a business owner. It is hard to be a small business owner. Yeah. And with COVID and everything else that happened last year with many of our lives, it sent people in disarray. Their businesses changed overnight. So if the government is saying, hey, I'm going to give you $50,000, you're taking it, right? But you're really not supposed to pay for those shoes and that McDonald's. And,
that ain't you know,
it really has nothing to do with you buying your kids school clothes. And, you know, it's so what we try to do is be a first step, right? And we offer the consultation services because we want you to at least have the questions asked. Yes. And then we point you in the direction, regardless of whether or not it's our services or someone else's services, we want you to be helped. And so that's what that first initial hour is for. It's really a SWOT analysis. It's to really figure out, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you have opportunities? What's your threat? And if you're your biggest threat, I'm going to tell you. So you know, my initials aren't BS for any reason. It was by design, because I don't give you any.
Right.
It's
by design.
It's by design.
Oh, my goodness, that's tough. It is funny because, I didn't notice that, so that's very, very apropos, so I appreciate that. But the reason why I asked you that question about PPP loans and SBA is because even if it's not the news everyone sitting in their easy chair would like to hear, I want them to have, especially if they listen to our podcast, to have a dose of reality from a true professional who's not only educated but also has that certain level of expertise that only comes from serving in the field for a certain amount of years. So I thank you for providing some clarity to something that can be kind of convoluted if all you do is watch television and see stuff on your phone. But let's get to some of the good news. In 2021, is there anything from a lender's perspective, from a guidelines or qualification, that the average shopper, whether it be residential real estate, commercial real estate, may not know that have changed this year that you might want to bring to their attention?
There's a ton of things that have changed this year.
Something that we can handle. Something that Larry and I can digest.
We put too much pressure on us.
Right. No. Something that me and Larry can take in.
We don't need too bigger industry changes around.
All right.
Well, but here's the thing. There have been some changes in terms of a lot of the non-QM products coming back. So for those of you who are looking for like traditional loans, if you're a business owner, we are digging a lot deeper. You know, your bank statements are going to 3 months and not 2 months. And then we're digging deeper into your year-to-date P&Ls with balance sheets, especially because COVID happened, to make sure that you're earning what you said that you were earning to the government, because many people haven't, filed their 2020 taxes yet. And a lot of people are going to be doing extensions. Well, it's no longer going to be that you can just use like 19 and 20, and we really don't look at what happened in even 2021. But the good news is there are a lot of light stated programs that are coming back
Good
that
news.
you can have a CPA letter.
Wow.
Yes. There are still 12 and 24-month bank statement programs if you have not filed your tax return.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there are a lot more of the non-QM stuff coming back, especially for small business owners, to be able to still occupy a property of their own or invest in property. Because many of you have the money, right? Many of you have the actual credit, but it's showing it in a way that would typically meet Fannie and Freddie's guidelines or HUD and VA guidelines. That's a little tricky as things start to be a lot more conservative in the climate.
And, I appreciate you sharing that information, because for every client that's a little too gung-ho and applies for everything out there.
Yeah.
There are people that sit on the sideline and watch every opportunity drift past them.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give them an opportunity to hear you say that and be like, oh, wow, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm sure a lot of our audience is interested in is just your professional background, your evolution. I'm sure you get this a lot when you meet people, especially when you're doing your initial consultation. Is they meet you now, and everything as far as your professional demeanor is so dialed in, it's so consistent that I think, and Larry and I talk about this a lot, that it's undervalued the evolutionary path that a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs have to go through. So when we come back from our break, Ms. Sams, I want to talk to you a little bit about your professional background and how you evolved to the entrepreneur and business owner that we have before us today.
Not a problem.
I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. We're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors, but we'll be right back. This is Rick Davis, realtor and host of the Prime Real Estate Network. Are you currently leasing or looking to relocate to the Houston area and you find yourself falling in love with the home but aren't quite in a position to purchase? Well, no worries. We offer the Right to Purchase program. We can place you in the home of your dreams at current market rental rates and give you up to 3 years to buy. Did you know that a majority of the homes that are for sale offer better quality than those that are for rent? So why wait? Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. Let me and my team help you purchase a home that you and your family can fall in love with. Give me a call today at 832-928-3963. And remember to follow the Prime Real Estate Network podcast on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Be blessed.
I'm serial entrepreneur Larry W. Brooks, and I'd like to personally invite you to take a closer look at the Pure Hustle clothing brand, along with several books that I've authored to take entrepreneurs, small business owners to the next level of their business. So please take a look at shoplwb.com. How do you survive?
Set it up and out.
Welcome back to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Rick Davis. You can follow me at Prime Real Estate Rick on Facebook and Instagram. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate, please visit our website at brooksanddavis.com. As always, riding shotgun with me is my co-host, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, man, enjoying the show, man. I got B. Sam in the building, dropping nuggets these people ain't ready for, so... Hey man, we dispelling myths, busting rumors, and all that today, yes,
man.
Indeed.
Because in 2021, man, there will be no misinformation.
That's right.
Amen.
No doubt. So, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in this week. I want to introduce this week's guest. She is the CEO and founder of Beyond the Close and one of the most knowledgeable licensed loan officers anywhere in the city of Houston. I want to thank her for sitting in with us this week. Miss Brandy Sams, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank
Rick.
you so much. Now, Larry.
Yes, sir.
See, when we was during our break, you were throwing a few cool ideas around. And I was just like, look, we got to get that actually on air. So please, Larry, if you would.
do. So because when you're in the real estate space, man, you get to hearing everyone talk about. The biggest thing everyone's talking about right now is, at some point the real estate gonna have to go through a recession like they did in 2008. But so I wanted to pose the question to my friend. What are her thoughts? I was listening to this question really has been heavy on my mind because I was listening to the show called Earn Your Leisure. They got a guy named Ian on there that's a stock guy. Mm-hmm. No stock, backwards and forwards. If you want, he's very successful at that. Mm-hmm. But in his mind, he feels like we're gonna run into a real estate recession, and I'm like, no, we're not. Mm-hmm. And there's, what's your thoughts, Brandy?
I agree with you, Larry. There were so many other factors that happened in 2008 that aren't in existence right now.
Yeah.
And are prices going to go up? Clearly they are, right?
And
are interest rates going to go up?
Yeah.
Clearly they are. At the same time, I think that what people are forgetting is that the previous massive recession affected so many other industries that are doing well right now. Mm-hmm. And we have way more buyers in the market than we have inventory.
Yeah.
So we'd almost have to triple the inventory to outpace the buyers to then start the process of a real estate recession. So I don't see a real estate recession coming.
Yeah.
I do think some people will be priced out the market if they don't go ahead and take advantage. But in terms of like a true recession like it was back then, no, I don't see that coming.
And I totally agree. And I remember I had this conversation. I was telling, when this was going on, I had a conversation the very next day. And I was like, well, one of the biggest things about it was, you had appraisers at the time were not as regulated as they are now. So they had their misdeeds. Then you had the partnership of them teaming up with different realtors and mortgage people that didn't have ethical practices, them partnering up. And then I even believe in the beginning of 08, 05, the 05 era, like as a mortgage person at that time, you just paid a fee. You wasn't no regulations.
There was not the same level of oversight. They didn't have the amount of guidelines. There was no CFPB oversight and regulations. They didn't have any of those things going. Not to mention the fact that the stock market, it was multiple industries. It wasn't even just real estate. I know that they like to talk about real estate being an actual issue for 08, but people were out of jobs in a lot of industries, right? The medical community wasn't as strong as it is right now.
That's right.
Oil and gas wasn't as strong either. Yes, we're having some issues with the airline industry, but tourism is coming back. There's so many other areas and ways and buyers that are in the market right now
that are actually getting financed properly, right?
Exactly.
It's not, back then we had those interest-only loans
that weren't explained.
Was not explained. You had teachers getting homes for $400,000 on
and they made
$45,000. That's not happening right now. So. That's the biggest thing. So I wanted to just talk to another professional about it. It's been on my mind. So I knew you was gonna really drop the gems.
I don't. And then the other thing that I think that people fail to understand is that the banks were so in collusion with one another with selling those mortgage-backed securities and making sure that they were investing or having investors invest in bad debt.
I agree.
And so the industry has turned itself around and are really trying to streamline things so that most people, if you are going to acquire debt, it's not debt that's going to put you in a position for a downfall if there is a loss of your income for any particular reason.
No doubt. So, yeah, man, Rick, I just had to go. It was on my heart. So for those of you that are following through social media, if y'all follow Ian and he wants to do a debate on this thing, just let him know that I'm always ready. We can debate stocks and we can debate real estate and who gonna do what to start some type of recession. I'm always about that.
I just feel blessed that we were able to have a professional like Miss Brandy Sam sitting in with us this week. I'm sure you get this a lot. I don't know if you served as a mentor to the youth before or you speak in front of children, but one of the reasons Larry and I built this platform was to motivate and inspire that next generation of entrepreneurs and business people. So I want to ask you this question. What did you do professionally before you got into the mortgage industry? And what was it that flipped the switch and you were kind of ignited that passion in you to become an entrepreneur and a business owner?
So I would say to the first question in regards to an entrepreneur and business owner, that's a family thing. I was born into that.
That's what's
so.
Larry and I ask people that every week, don't we, Larry? You'd be surprised.
She said she was a landowner. I was like, yeah.
6 generations. Go ahead, Miss Brandy.
So my grandmother actually was, she was a real estate broker.
Okay.
And so in the Bay Area, in Oakland. And so she would have her friends and help them to buy homes. And she was always really instrumental in understanding what was going on. She went to the community meetings. She knew what was coming to Oakland and Emeryville and Berkeley and all these different areas 5-10 years down the line.
Absolutely.
So she had that foresight, right?
Yep.
And so she used to encourage us all the time to, not necessarily just go to work, right? But have something for ourselves.
Yep.
And then both of my parents, they did Amway. They did. You know what I mean?
That's the name of it. I was trying to tell somebody about that the other day. It was one of the
first
think
of the name, right?
MLMs, right? Like Amway,
Yeah, so my daddy is a computer programmer and my mom worked in law. And yet they still had an entrepreneurial spirit. Growing up, my mom took a contract with the state of California, offering services to them so that she could be home when we came home from school.
Oh, that's super cool.
But she worked the whole time, right? And so then my dad was someone who wanted to do that as well. So I grew up really not wanting to work for anybody else, right? But at the time, I just didn't have a lot of direction. So I tried a lot of different, I was selling. When deregulation happened with the telephones, I was selling telephone services and some of the other things.
And all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not a typical salesperson. I can't just sell you stuff just to sell it to you just because I can.
Right. No, but now this is the part of the show where I have to ask a follow-up because There are people who've probably done business with you for 5 years, 10 years, who have no idea that was a part of your sales background. Mm-hmm. And I just want this to be an example to everyone who watches this episode, is that regardless of what you're doing right now,
right,
those skills that you're developing
mm-hmm.
are transferable.
They are.
And that's what I think makes your story so powerful, and why I urge all of our listeners to follow you on social media and your website. So please, could you share with our audience how they could keep up with you online, your website, and how they can reach out for you for consultation?
Sure. So the best way to reach myself or anyone on my team is to go to my website, loanswithbrandy.com. That's LOANSWITHBRANDY.com. That will have my link tree. So that allows you to book a Dreams and Goals call. That's a call like if you don't know exactly where you want to go, where to start, we'll take 15 minutes out of the day to go ahead and help you and then tell you what the next steps are. If that's moving forward with getting your credit together, then we have a referral for that. If it's where you want to get a mortgage, we have a referral for that. And we also do hard money as well as private money as well. So
there we go. That's the magic words all those investors wanted to hear.
Yep.
The other thing you can do is if you're ready to go ahead and apply, there's a link for the application process. It is online. And then you will be sent a needs list, and then you will be able to book a longer consultation to go over your pre-approval process, regardless of whether or not you're trying to purchase or you're looking to refinance. So that's the best way to reach me. Right. And then our office line is 800-249-0089. However, if you don't reach us, it's because we're with clients, and so then the best way to still connect is going to be the loanswithbrandy.com.
Absolutely. And I urge everyone in our audience, if you are a real estate investor, reach out to Ms. Brandy. You can talk to her about some of the financing options, some of the hard money options that she may be able to provide you with. And if nothing else, reach out to her and schedule that Dreams and Goals call.
Thank you.
Because I think I think that'll give a lot of our listeners some perspective on how they could push their professional brand and their personal and financial brand to the next level. So I thank you so much for offering that to the people who listen to our show.
It's super important, and not to mention the fact that I do want to mention to everyone, I may not be the person you talk to. So I have a team, and I have them for a reason. They are all educated professionals. So please keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
When you call or when you schedule, but we're all here to help.
That's right. Problem. Please allow us to have growth as small business owners. Please allow us to have growth. So that's why it's important. Yes.
So, Mr. Larry W. Brooks.
Yes, indeed.
It is Thursday.
Yeah.
Which makes tomorrow Friday.
It is.
Which means we are on the cusp of the weekend, man. What's going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King this weekend, man, for the audience?
My Monday feels like my Friday, so I don't know. They all complicated. So nothing is going on. I'll be working and out in these H-Town and social media streets, making sure that things are going the way that they're supposed to.
Hey, man, well, I want to thank you for sitting in with us, man, because I know it's spring break for everybody in the world, man.
Yes,
so I know
I
know the planes, the trains, and the automobiles been calling. So appreciate you for holding it down with us this week, man. And as always, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. If you need anything, I am only a text, inbox, or DM away. Please don't hesitate. Give me a call. You can email me because we're always here to serve. On behalf of myself and the Texas Real Estate King, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see you all next Thursday, and be blessed.